previous video, we looked at how we had a pre-made form and how that data could be used, those questions that collected that data could be used in the data analysis process. Now that was an overview video, and before we get into the actual data analysis part of that, I just wanted to step back and take a look at how to design a form prior to trying to collect the data so that we can get the right data that we can then start making some conclusions and producing visuals to represent those conclusions. So what we're going to be doing is we'll start with just copying a sample entry form creation. So what we want to do is we're going to take a look at how to create a form with purpose in mind of data collection. So we're going to be building the exact sort of model or sample that you saw in the previous video in this one. And to do that, there'll be a link via some exercise that you can just click, and you'll end up at this copy page, and you're just going to click make a copy. And once you make a copy, it will generate a form. Now, you may be new, you may have some experience, or you may be a master at forms. So what is shared here will hopefully give you some sort of information on how to build it with a purpose in relation to collecting your data. And so here we have our form, and it says copy of because it is not the original form. This is just a blank form, and we're just going to go ahead and say take out the title and just say put your name, so Dan, sample entry form. All right, so now we have our form, and what you're looking at is the basic form layout for the questions and the interface to create those questions and add items to your form. Then you have responses up here, which will gather, collect the responses in real time and provide you some options for data analysis and various other types of visuals that could make sense out of this. And that's just the beginning of sort of data analysis, which you can go much further into forms here using the spreadsheet option, which we'll take a look at the end. So, and then you have your settings and who can access the form and what information you'll collect automatically through that verification process. All right, let's go back to the questions. All right, so we have our form description down below. That's the first thing you can see, and you can add a form. So in this case, I'll just say, upon entry into class, please complete the form items below. And what I like to do, since I'm using data that they'll be entering into the form, just give them a purpose for your data. And this is good for PDPA or GDPR compliance. And so just say the data on this form will be collected with personal email address. However, the data will not be shared in relation to individual identifying data. So we're just saying to anybody who is collecting or submitting this, we're just saying we're going to use your data, we're collecting your email address. However, the data will not be shared in relation to individual identifying data. So meaning I'm going to take out all that individual data, which I did in the previous video, and when I share this data, it will be shared, but nothing will be identified to any individual. It'll just be the group or class. And so that covers me in relation to any type of data protection policies. And now we can just go ahead and start building that form. Now, the form item that you can make are there's many different types. Really right now, what we're going to do is take a look at just the basic form item anatomy. That is the different elements that you can adjust. So let's say we want to call this first question just to collect the student's nickname. So I'm just going to go ahead and type in a good title for this, and I'll format that so it's not like this. One moment. So if you get this, I've already prepared this, so I just hit text. This removes any formatting you might be copying from. All right, so that's the form item, and this is actually what will be the title in your column on the spreadsheet eventually. Now, we want to give some more directions about that. So the directions we'll provide here are just simple directions on what the student should do, but we really don't need this information on our spreadsheet or any type of data analysis, so we're just going to put it in the description. The description does not show up on any type of back-end spreadsheet. So we'll just go ahead and say, please provide, okay, and there I have an issue. If you see that, you can just remove the format. Okay, so the student can then go on to this form item and enter their name in a short answer text. And that's the first automatic default question type that you get. And these are the basic items that you need to fill in to provide some sorting details with the grouping variables and also directions for the user to complete. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the different form options or item options. If we wanted to make this a paragraph, we could give it a longer answer. Those are the two basic open-ended type items. And then down here, making sure that we require everyone to give the name, and that helps. And we'll be collecting email addresses, and I'm going to show you how to do that here momentarily. But let's go ahead and continue on with the form item. We're just trying to build the form as you saw it from the previous video. And our next item to make would be to collect the class section. So let's go ahead and come over to the plus button again. And in this case, we'll just hit plus, and it's going to give us a multiple choice option. Okay, which you can do. I like to use the drop down, the check boxes. It means you can choose multiple different options. We don't want that right now. We're just going to hit drop down, and here is our new question. And again, we're just going to put our class option. So we want the students upon entry to indicate which class they're entering in as. All right, and so for the form purpose that you saw in the previous video, we used 4 classes. I'm just going to go ahead and replicate that option. And of course, that would differ on different teachers and schedules. All right, so we make that a required question. Of course, they have to fill that out. Let's go ahead and make a new type of answer, a new form item, but this time let's step back a little bit and look at another option that we can do. So in our particular lesson, we were doing visuals, and it's always good to have visual representation so that helps them engage and also understand the concepts that are underpinning their next Google item or next Google question item. So let's go ahead and click a image. So we're going to add an image below, and I already have this queued up here. So let's go ahead and take a look at this image. And it provides us an image title. Here's our image. We can do different, we could say center align so that it appears in the center, so forth. We could just say, let's just call this belonging versus othering scale. So we use a 4-point Likert scale for this item or this response that's about to follow. So they have the visual, and now we can add a new type of question down below. And this is a fun question type because it provides them with sort of a multiple choice grid, and you just have to play around with making sure you get the correct orders sometimes, and you get the correct visual. So nonetheless, let's go ahead and give this form or this particular item a question. And so right now we're just using a Likert scale. We'll provide them options in relation to the category. And so we have our title. That's all we need. That'll appear on the spreadsheet. And then these rows will appear in separate columns as you'll see or have seen. Now let's go ahead and just offer the text. I'm just going to copy and paste this text right in here. And you can see, okay, there's my text, and obviously these are going to be my categories, and this links, you can create links to previous materials. All you have to do obviously is select that text, and then you can embed the link and paste the link, and that'll become a hyperlink for people to refer to other possible resources that help give more context to this form item. All right, now let's go ahead and just come down here. We're gonna quickly just copy these, since these will be our rows, categories, and that's what we're interested in. And then we'll need to make sure we provide the numbers that appear up here in the same order. So just 1, 2, 3, form. And we want to make sure this is required. So we have added a title. We've provided a more detailed description of our form, and then the students can just select 1, 2, 3, 4 based off of this. And so what we have, just quickly to review, is this form now, and you can see submission, section title, our scale, our question, and student response. So you can see that each row has to be completed, has to be given a number. Now you'll notice that I can select multiple ones, I can select multiple threes, and so forth, which is the basis of the multiple choice grid. But you can make this, if you want to, if you're trying to get preferences of different things that students want to do, you can make this a preference or a forced ranking. So to do that, to get the preferences of students, you can make it a forced ranking. And let's go ahead and say limit 1 response per row. So we click these 3, limit 1 response per row. You come up here, okay, and then you'll see that I've already had this. Let's go ahead and refresh. We'll refresh that, and it will take on the new. And if I hit submit, you'll notice, okay, I have to put the names in. I'll just quickly fill this out as a sample. And I hit submit, but it won't let me submit now because I have had 4 already. So I have to choose a 4 and I have to choose a 2. And once I choose the 2, okay, or 1, okay, now it will let me submit. So it's force ranking. And these are good for finding out what electives kids want to do, or what type of topics they want to do in a project, and which groupings they might want to do as well. So this is a nice little feature of forms in this question item. All right. Now, we're just going to use this as an open question. We don't want to force rank anything, so we're just going to limit it to the original settings. And now we're just going to go ahead and make sure people can access the form, and our audience can access the form the right way. So in settings, since this could be viewed outside of our particular environment at the school, I'm just going to go ahead and hit responses. And you see, once you hit the settings, you go to responses, you say do not collect the email verified responder input. If you're in-house, you can make sure they're using your domain with verified, and that'll collect. You can use responder input, and that means that you can send this outside your domain, but they will still be required to put in a valid email address. And so I'm going to go ahead and click that setting, but you can also keep this one. And then for students, it's very simple for them to complete this form when they enter because it's verified. They don't have to enter anything, and then they're just at the questions and they can quickly fill them out. Anyway, let's go ahead and turn that off for now. We'll just say user responder input. All right, and that's all we need for the settings for this particular one. There's other options, and those options can be explored in future trainings. But go back to responses here. And in the responses, you'll see as it comes in, the different responses that obviously are submitted. And that's general overview, sort of like a dashboard. Some data can be made sense of depending on how you word and how you obviously construct your form and the questions in it. But the best way and the most thorough way is to link it to sheets. And so all you need to do is you'll create a spreadsheet. You just click link to sheets, and you'll hit create new spreadsheet. You could choose existing, but it's easiest just to do new and hit create. Now this spreadsheet here will be collecting in real time the data that is being collected here, and it'll be being displayed here as well. And obviously these questions you don't want to change too much once you've selected them, but there'll be opportunities where you can change them in the future, and you can just remove and add different questions, and just keep the same form. And just as things happen during the school year, you can change them for different responses from teachers or from students coming in. Teachers can change those responses. And so you can see how this works here. And if you want to see the final form here, you click on the preview. Now, this is very important. You don't want to share this link where it says edit at the end. That is for you only. And so this is often a mistake for new users to forms. You don't want to share the link that says edit. What you want to share is the public link. So you click on the preview, and here is the link with view form at the end. And so this allows you to then copy this, and then you can share that link and share the form any way you want. Now that could be just pasting it into your Google Classroom as the kids come in. It could be putting it to a QR code, both, either or. And so that's how you can sort of manage who's accessing this form and when as well. So obviously, this sort of sums up an overview of how to get started with forms. Again, if you want to use this accurately, make sure that that first or the last question we put, we want to make sure that it is not set to limit to one response. But that is a very good feature as well for ranking and force ranking your students into options or preferences. So thanks for watching. We will be covering the backside of all the data with some sample data sets from my own students' entry. And we'll be taking a look at how we can manage and also set up different strategies and approaches to make sense of the data that is collected via the public form here. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.